Hey guys, I've recently had a bunch of people ask me about my Rune of Silent Death Khalderun level 5 team. I mentioned in one of my recent videos showcasing my RTA monsters and runes that I have some ancient swift runes on my Chiwu, and people were then commenting saying, what team am I using? So just wanted to make a quick video today. We'll go through the team here first quickly, look at some of the runs, and then I'll showcase all the runes and the artifacts that I'm using to make this team one of the most stable teams that I think is out there right now for this particular dungeon. So we have the Verd lead, Fran moving second, into Jultan, and then into Shaman. So let's get started. We'll watch one of the runs. So Fran moves first, puts up the attack buff, and the immunity isn't that big of a deal, but mainly just for the attack buff and the healing. We have Fran in the team. Fran goes again into Jultan for the defense break, and then Shaman for the big nuke damage. And then the Verd is also actually pretty big damage in this team here, as well as a attack bar booster, so it just gives my team a second go. We'll see here on the boss. This is the main part of the dungeon that everyone has the difficulty with. So with this team here, I go straight for the boss on all three phases as well. It does make it a bit faster. Okay, so you can see there that the Jultan's actually missed one of the defense breaks. That's the only thing that makes this team not 100%. It is currently around the 98 to 99% safe mark. I've tested this about 130, 140 times, and I've had 2 fails since I've been keeping track of exactly how many times I've been running it and fails I've been getting. Lands the defense break into Shaman, back to Verd, and there we go. So you can see that it's pretty quick, it's pretty fast. We'll go through the runes now, and you can see exactly how much damage that I'm getting out of everybody, as well as the thing that I found that made this team safer for me is actually the specific artifacts that I put on the units. A lot of these units I use in other dungeons and other areas of the game and don't change their runes around at all, or just a little bit. I might tweak them a little bit. I'll explain when we get to them. But it's the artifacts that I actually change around when I'm using monsters in a specific dungeon. So let's have a quick look at the runes on all these units. So we'll start with Fran. She moves first. This is just my regular Siege Guild War. Like just most people have a Fran like this on their account. It's on Violent Will, Speed, HP, and HP. I'll just show the slot 1, 3, and 5. So all you really want with your Fran is she just has to move first. She doesn't have to be this fast. She just has to be faster than your Jultan and faster than your Shaman. And then obviously your Verd as well. But you want her tanky enough, a little bit of accuracy. I mean, this is just a standard build for most people's Frans on their accounts. The artifacts that I put on her are just some extra recovery on the right side. The attack increasing effect also helps with her healing as well. On the left side, we have some damage received from Dark. So this is a specific artifact that I only use on Fran in this dungeon, just to reduce the damage that she receives if the boss does hit her. It just helps, obviously, with the damage mitigation, keeps her alive, keeps the team alive, keeps the healing going. The longer you're alive, the more damage you can get out as well. So that's why you'll see on most of these units, on the left-hand side here, I do have damage either dealt on Dark or damage reduction from Dark. Alrighty, let's have a quick look at Jultan next. So Jultan moves second in the team. Again, you just want him tanky and behind Fran. That's all you really need. So you can see here I could probably drop a little bit of speed off Fran. 243 total and 227 total. The higher base speed means that you will need a bit of a gap there with Fran, but you don't need that much of a gap. And he is on a double revenge blade set. Ideally you'd want him on a triple revenge set. He does get hit and you can then get the revenge onto the boss. It just helps get that defense break more consistent on the boss. I just don't have very good HP slots 4 and 6s in my revenge runes, so I went with a blade set. It actually gives him a little bit more damage, but ideally it's not really what you want. The triple revenge would be much better for him. The artifacts on him, we just have some extra skill 3 accuracy here. A little bit of additional damage. Jultan's kind of the easiest one to build. You just want him speed tuned, tanky. That's basically it. A little bit of accuracy. And then on the left hand side, again, here you can see I've gone for the damage reduction from Dark, as well as some additional damage on top And we'll go through all the runes. So slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it is a HP build, just with decent speed subs on each of the runes to make up that speed. The next move in the team is the Shaman. So this Shaman here is, I also use this Shaman in my Necro team. I'll show you in a second how I adjust him to be speed tuned behind my Trikaru. So he is one of the units that I do change a specific rune over. Just one rune. I keep the same set on him, but then I swap one rune over. It's basically this slot 2. So when I use him in Necro, I have an attack slot 2 to slow him down behind my Trikaru. When I'm using him in the Khalderun dungeon, I put a speed slot 2 on him just to speed boost him back up. He is then sitting right behind Jultan, but just that extra bit of speed helps him take more turns, and you actually lap the boss. So quite often I'll get 2 turns off with my whole team before either of the side monsters take a turn. And just again, it means that I get through each phase of the boss pretty quickly without being hit very often by either of the side units. So he is on a speed, crit damage, attack build. Slot 1, 3, and 5. So you can see like some of these runes, like these are pretty average runes. Like I know that's a legendary, but like that could basically be a purple or even a blue rune with some gems and grinds in it. The artifacts I have on him is extra crit damage here, skill 1 and skill 2. A little bit more crit damage is good. Not a very good artifact, honestly, for him. This one here is more of the Trikaru Necro artifact with the damage dealt by attacking together. I just didn't change it over for this. I don't really need to. But on the left-hand side here, we have damage dealt on Dark. So this one is actually perfect for Necro and the Khalderun dungeon, just to get some more damage out on the boss. You do want your Shaman to be a little bit tanky as well. He needs to be able to survive a couple of hits. And with most of his damage coming from speed scaling on skill 1 or the enemy boss HP scaling on skill 2, he doesn't need a lot of attack. So you can go a little bit tankier with him and put like a HP slot on him if you didn't have very good substats, or you're finding that yours is being a little squishy and dying. You could also go for some damage reduction on Dark on this side, but I favour the damage dealt, as he's my main damage dealer in the dungeon. And finally, the Verd. Now, Verd is just my this is just my standard Trikaru Verd. The only thing that I changed for him for this dungeon, again, is the artifacts. So we'll go through the runes real quick first. He's just on an attack, crit damage, and attack build with slot 1, slot 3, and slot 5. So just you stand the Trikaru. Basically, you just want to get as much damage as you possibly can out. And then for the artifacts on him, so for this dungeon here, I dropped the damage dealt by attacking together artifacts, and I've just gone for some skill 2 crit damage. And on the left hand side here, damage received from Dark down and damage dealt on Dark up, as well as a little bit more crit damage is bad, and the attack increasing effect also helps with the Fran on the field. So that's the stats, that's the runes, that's the artifacts on the 4 monsters. Let's go back and have a look at a couple more runs, and then we'll probably edit it out here, and we'll jump straight to the end of the 10 run, and you guys can see the average time spread across the 10. Looks like we might have got some... There we go, beautiful. Everyone's going to be chasing these swift speed grinds, so there we go, picked one up there. And a flat one, we don't need that one. As far as running this dungeon, it's probably not the most efficient. The most efficient one I would say would be the Alunia one, because you can collect both your Despair runes, your Will runes, and some Nemesis runes, which are all very viable in RTA, especially the Despair and the Will. Whereas in this one here, all you're really chasing is the Swift ones. The advantage that this dungeon has, though, is if you are farming Alunia for Will and Despair runes, you'll realize pretty quickly that you never have enough grinds. Because you're collecting significantly more runes that you are keeping compared to the grinds that you're keeping. Whereas in the Khalderun dungeon here, because you're only really chasing triple speed swift runes, you don't get that many. So having a grind shortage is actually not really a problem. Having max grinds is a problem, but that's, I mean, it is what it is, you know. Okay, this is the 10th run here. We'll watch this one, then we can check out the average overall time. Most of these trash waves are pretty easy, you know, no one really has any trouble on those. The only time that this team has ever failed is when Jultan has happened to miss multiple defense breaks in a row. You can see here, like I was saying, how we get to have a couple of turns with the team before either of the side units get to take a turn against me. So speed tuning was a little bit off there, but it's because of the boss having to actually died from the Jultan. So Shaman had a hit without the defense break on. But we'll see here that he still gets a second hit across. And using the Trikaru Verd, having a big damage Verd as well, also means that if something does go wrong, if the Shaman does happen to die, Verd actually is enough damage to still carry through and beat the boss. So you can see it's been pretty smooth, it's been pretty clean. Nothing really has gone wrong in these 10 runs. Like I said, the only time it ever really does is if there is multiple defense breaks missed from Jultan. It just slows the team down, and then one of the units can die, and then some things can go wrong. But you can see that pretty safe, pretty stable, and a pretty fast time. With this dungeon here, you do sort of, the slower you are, the riskier it is, because the more damage you receive, the more the boss will actually stack his stacks on you and up the damage you receive, and then your units start dying, and then you don't have enough damage, and things go wrong. But you can see here, pretty stable. So yeah, that's the team, guys. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. If anyone's having any trouble with any other PvE areas of this game, do me a favor, just drop in the comments below. There's something that you'd like me to do, and I can build a team for you guys or show you what I'm using in that particular area, and try and get some more tutorial type guides out for you guys. So appreciate the support. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.